The Utah Jazz, they fell, but Ace Bailey went off, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to break it all down. This was something spectacular. This guy was looking like arguably the best player in the draft, in just one preseason game. He went up against Kevin Durant. I'm not going to take that lightly. He stepped on the floor like he belonged. The Utah Jazz, I'm telling you, this team could be a very big surprise team. It's all up to what they want to do, because they got a nice cast of characters. They got some veterans here. We still didn't even see everybody just yet. But I'm here to break down to you, ladies and gentlemen, the 5th overall pick in the draft, Ace Bailey. He went off for 25 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds, all of this in 31 minutes. This guy went off, y'all. We're going to get all into it. He did have some help. Shout out to Brice, Sensabaugh. This guy is arguably the best, one of the best shooters in the league. The man is shooting, if I'm not mistaken, since last All-Star break, 48% from 3. His numbers are up there with some of the upper echelons of three-point shooters in the league. When you talk about the Durants, the Currys, and Brice Sensabaugh, he's shooting like that, ladies and gentlemen. The homage must be paid. So we got to definitely give credit where credit is due. Give big shouts out to Keontae George. But seriously, the story tonight was Ace Bailey. I repeat, the Jazz did lose tonight, 127 to 140. But I'm not really tripping on that, to be honest with you. This game was just the preseason. I repeat, we still didn't even see, we didn't see Kyle Filipowski. We didn't see a lot of players on this basketball team, even our veterans. We didn't get a look at Lauri Markkanen. And if you see the way Ace Bailey was playing, on one wing, I could only imagine when you get Lauri Markkanen on the other side. That's why I'm here to tell you that it's really up to what the Utah Jazz want to do. Because the Jazz very well could mess around and get into the play-in, but is that what the Utah Jazz truly want? Or do they really want to go for possibly another lottery situation? We just don't know how far, the Jazz truly want to take this. Taylor Hendricks of the world, they were good. And that's why I said we still didn't see Isaiah Collier. We seen a nice heavy dose of Svi Mikhailuk. I'm not a big fan of Svi. Shout out to Svi. I know he's been around the league for a while. It's no hard feelings towards him. I'm just not a huge fan. So I can't wait till we get our guys back that's reliable so we could, alleviate heat from him. So it's going to be interesting to see. Also, Walker Kessler. We didn't get a look at him. That's what I'm saying. This team is just loaded. Ace Bailey is going to garner a lot of attention. The guy was scoring like it was easy. Everything was effortless. Nothing was really, and it was times where he wanted the ball some more. So it seemed like a lot of guys, they was going to get theirs. But Ace, it was a point in time where you should have just been going through Ace Bailey. I mean, he showed that he was ready to go. He's ready to carry the offense. And for a guy that went through all the turmoil headed into the draft where it wanted to be his own team. There was talks and rumors going on that he wanted to be drafted by Washington, wanted to be drafted by Brooklyn. He can have all of the things he's looking for right here in Utah. They have a nice cast of characters, but they don't have that one, that one ace. And now they have it in Ace Bailey. So let's see if he can continue to emerge as the number one option for the Utah Jazz, utilizing his offense and breaking things down, manipulating the defense and opening things up. I seen him in a couple of looks, where he found the center and Yusuf Nurkic. Him and Nurkic seem like they got a nice little connection. I hope we could continue to see that arise. So we shall see at the end of the day, y'all. But it's Flight Sports. Make sure you subscribe if you're rocking with the Utah Jazz. We're going to be discussing a lot of Jazz basketball. If you want more news updates and more, like I said, hit the subscribe button. Y'all let me know in the chat who's y'all looking at the most. Who surprised you? Taylor Hendricks, I thought they did a wonderful job. He hit a lot of threes. The one thing about the Jazz, they can't fall in love with three ball. because once they start hitting, it seems like that's all they want to do. Guys got to still take it to the cup, and I think you're going to get a heavy dose of that when you bring in the likes of Lauri Markkanen, and when you bring in Kyle Filipowski. They'll be able to play multiple different kind of ways. Kyle Filipowski was the MVP of the Summer League. This is a young basketball team, and you probably have one of the better younger players on this team who I believe is going to be able to do just about a little bit of everything. And that's it's going to be interesting, y'all. This is going to be a big year for Utah. What do the Jazz want to do? Because if they really want to make a run at it, you keep everybody and maybe add something. But if they start with, my only fear for Utah is if they get out to a good start, and are you just going to start letting go of people? It was talks already that Lauri Markkanen could be possibly moved. Maybe they're going to work up his trade value and his equity. Because if the Jazz get up to a hot start, you best believe that Lauri Markkanen is going to be looked at and viewed as a top trade piece, that could garner maybe a first-round pick out this thing. So, we got to see how the season shakes out. But nonetheless, I like what I've seen so far just in this dose. I like the way that Hardy has got these guys. You clearly see the coach has got their ear. They respect him. It seemed like they got a nice little love affair going on. And I mean that in a good way. They all want to be there in Utah. And that's saying something for a guy like Ace, who it was talks where he didn't want to be in Utah. Obviously Utah is not D.C. It's not, Atlanta. It's not L.A., So, it's interesting, what's going on right now. But I do think that Utah is a place where these guys can come and focus on basketball. Ace Bailey, all he want to do is focus on basketball. That's all he counts. Well, here in Utah, that's all you're going to be able to do. I doubt there's going to be much else really going on or percolating. So y'all let me know in the chat what's your thoughts tonight, because Ace Bailey was completely unstoppable. Now, if he continues this, we got to understand, Ace should have really been picked either 2 or 3. He should have been either going to San Antonio or possibly going to Philly. It was always Philly was the lock. Clearly, he didn't work out for these teams. They moved in different directions. I love Kern Knibbel for the Charlotte Hornets. But I could only imagine if we had Ace Bailey out there alleviating pressure off of LaMelo and Brandon Miller, because Ace want to score it. So I think you never could get enough bucket getters. And Charlotte at times, it is what it is. But nonetheless, Utah, you got one. I can't wait to break down the next preseason game. It's Flight Sports TV. If you're new, most definitely hit the subscribe button. Peace and love. Shout out to Ace Bailey. Arguably the top pick in this draft is Flight Sports TV.